Matthews. I'm the founder of 4Uni Solutions, and we've been working on consulting universities on their technology deployments within marketing, recruitment, admissions, particularly CRM systems, and more is AI deployments within this ecosystem. AI has appeared in all sorts of scenarios. We know that it's been around for years, it's been researched for decades, but of course the breakthrough moment was when it became publicly accessible, that everyone could get in there, could play with it, and it is very hard to detect. And students know this, students see the possibilities, they play with it, and they get immediate support, they get immediate answers. And we know that AI is on campus. We don't always see it, we don't always get told how it's being used by the students, but we know that across the board, a significant majority of students are deploying AI, whether free or paid softwares, within their research, within their supports, with drafting assignments, just taking notes. We have people note-taking, AI note-taking assistants in the classroom, where the professors have no idea that half the students in the room are recording and processing what's being spoken about, or uploading their slides into ChatGPT or one of the other tools in order just to analyze and save time. So we're getting all of these innovative deployments, but of course much of it is off the record, may or may not be approved. And this is another issue, of course, that many universities still have yet to deploy a comprehensive policy on AI use, both for students and for staff. The simple fact that so many students across the world are using AI daily, weekly, they're experimenting, they're innovating, they're sharing their knowledge, they're quite proud actually to share with their peers the latest tool or trick that they've got AI to do to support them. And say, I had this assignment, it used to take me 10 hours to do a 2,000 word assignment. I had it done in an hour and a half now thanks to XYZ deployment. And the tools are just exploding on the marketplace. And when we think about how is the learning experience going to change, how are students studying in the future with AI, the reality is it's already changed significantly. How students interacted 3 years ago is entirely different from how they're interacting now. Where we see like 80–90% of all students have some form of AI support within their study. It's already huge. And if you look at faculty, you've got the students 80–90%, you've got faculty probably 70–80% are using AI in production of course materials, curriculum development, and yet still only about 50% of universities have a policy on how to use AI for either group, and even less of those universities actually have any formalized structure for AI, like a ChatGPT.edu license or a Google education license. These overarching licenses that would provide safer environments, protection for IP rights, security, and universities are still trying to catch up and provide some sort of infrastructure while the market is racing ahead on its use. Critical thinking is a key question here. The simple reality is we don't have enough data. We don't know. There's an absence of qualitative studies on the impact of AI. There's a lack of knowledge about what really is going on behind the scenes. People are addressing this in different areas. There's several universities who are conducting experiments within modules on how to proactively involve AI into their classroom while retaining critical thinking. And it requires a complete rewrite of the curriculum, the assignments, the case studies, all of which can be gamed and carried out using AI. So you have to deploy AI into this. You have to acknowledge this. Don't try and ban it. You have to acknowledge it and then build it into your assessment process. And the key point here is that all of these changes, while retaining critical thought, is incredibly difficult. AI can replace so many of those functions. The question is, have you bypassed the human in that learning process? And is the output actually worth the paper it's written on? I think every university has acknowledged that AI is going to impact how students perform, how they act, and how they need to be assessed. Acknowledging it is different from acting on that, and many universities struggle for capacity in changing their teaching methods, their assessment process. There's a huge amount of paperwork, of legwork that has to go into rewriting entire portfolios worth of curriculum. And universities are already strapped for cash, for resources, faculty burdened, they don't have enough teaching hours. There's shortages across the board, and now everything needs rewriting, assessments need reworking. So it's incredibly difficult. Is it a good time to do a degree at the moment, to start your education journey? Because we don't know what next year's going to look like. However you think it may develop, we actually don't know 1 to 2 years ahead anymore what's changing, what's happening. And when I think of some of the deployments of clever, unique AI setups in universities, and I think of the amount of money they've spent on it, the hundreds of thousands of euros on a clever mixed deployment with various LMMs in there, and then 12 months later I see that this same thing can be achieved for a few thousand euros because the initial LMM providers have upgraded their algorithms, they've upgraded the software that they're offering, they've democratized access to AI tools, and all of a sudden you can say, oh, I'll just pick and choose those few elements, and hey presto, University X spent 500,000 2 years ago on it, well now I did it for 1,000 euros and everyone's got it. And it's just an example of firstly how the cost and the barriers are coming down on AI use and how quickly everything's changing. So the idea that someone would delay for a year whether they start educating or not, I see no reason to. Education is going to keep changing, the market is going to keep changing, maybe more rapidly than it has in the past. There's no point delaying. I think the most important thing is for a student to dive in, to be open-minded, and to explore the tools and the opportunities in the market, and not to hold back. Be very open to the fact that you need to expand your knowledge, your ability to think. You shouldn't be lazy and just rely on AI, and assume that once I graduate, I have to keep learning. I have to keep up with the tools. I have to keep up with the evolution of the marketplace. The lack of embrace of change is going to be a problem. This is an iPhone moment. This is the advent of the internet. People who were doing their job on paper all the time, and then the guy next to them had a PC and is processing and is automating and is quicker and embracing email, and the first company to have a website. Well, who would think there's a company now that doesn't have a website? It's a case of, if you don't embrace it, if you don't stay on top of the wave, you're going to fall behind and it can become very difficult to catch up. The market is changing rapidly. We don't know what jobs there are going to be in 5, 10, 20 years for sure. There's a lot of assumptions, there's a lot of futurists predicting that maybe jobs themselves are defunct and humans need a different way of living and being compensated for their time. It's going to change. I don't see mass unemployment, but I do see mass change of the need for skills. There will be jobs invented that didn't exist 5 years ago, and we actually can't imagine what those jobs are going to be in 5 years. And the interesting one actually is a prompt engineer. So the moment that AI hit the market and ChatGPT is there and people realize that just typing in a question is actually not good enough, you have to frame it with the correct sequence of prompts and really give boundaries on how you get an answer. And then the discussion was, we need thousands of prompt engineers. Teach all students how to do prompting correctly. There's this new job class coming up. Well, that little buzz lasted for a good 12 months. You don't really hear people talking about prompt engineers now because the AI tools have become their own best prompt engineers. And it's pointless in a way. AI adapted to us quicker than we could adapt to AI. And you now have tools that actually, you put in a question and the AI is already thinking through what you probably meant and what you probably would have prompted if you'd known how to do it. and then you're getting the results. So it's quite an interesting way that the job came. And I even saw adverts, companies were advertising prompt engineers, and those jobs are really they're disappearing off the market already. Business schools have a role in the future. The old model, I say old, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, is rapidly falling out of fashion. There's a need absolutely for business schools to modernize, to evolve how they teach, what they teach, where they teach. Corona did us a favor in terms of the education model, that it already pushed every institution to think about hybrid, blended, the value of online, the importance of on campus and when you should be on campus, and the digital tool mix that is being used. Not all universities got it right. There were lots of examples of experiments that failed, or poor deployment or lack of deployment of necessary tools, but it already got us ready for this full integration of the digital world into the learning experience. And that was critical, because the schools that got it right are now powering ahead with the involvement of AI, and the schools that didn't are falling behind rapidly. So business schools will have a role to play. Education is always going to be needed, but the question is, how do you adapt and live with AI in that environment?